All right, so it is Suicide Awareness Month.
It is.
Yes,
It's an
and
importante month
yes,
in the year. Suicide prevention is so, so closely knit to mental health. And I
yeah,
feel like it is something that we have to say out loud
yeah,
because of the stigma.
yeah. It's an easy short.
Ooh, yeah.
It's an easy short.
I like it.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome. We are here in season 2. Duh.
Watch this. Watch this.
Yes. We haven't had a good Usher meme reference in a long
I
time.
know. I think it's in my mind because everyone and their mother that I know has been at an Usher concert lately. I don't know.
Really?
Yes. I keep going on my Instagram like stories and like people are like this close to Usher. I'm like, where what?
Since when is Usher so close to the people?
I don't know. I
Mm,
don't know.
or
Uh,
sure.
But a bunch of people. He must have been in Boston recently or like in the area.
Mhm.
So, anyway,
There are some people when they like come to perform, everybody shows up.
yeah,
Like everybody I know is like going to see
Lauren Hill.
Usher. Girl, Lauryn Hill ain't showing up if she's supposed to be somewhere. Out of all the people, if Lauryn Hill showed up somewhere, yeah, everybody would be there.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me the Fugees are going on tour or whatever?
Yes, yeah, they're supposed to be. Didn't you say is Lauryn Hill even officially part of the movie?
I thought it was Lauren Hill and the Fugees.
Wyclef, don't come for us.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. All right, so it is Suicide Awareness Month.
It
Um,
is.
yes.
It's an
And
importante month
yes.
in the year. Suicide prevention is so, so closely knit to mental health. And I
Yeah.
feel like it is something that we have to say out loud
Yeah.
because of the stigma.
Yeah. It's true.
Like
It's true.
it's one of those things. I feel like suicide and death by substance misuse, like overdose,
Yeah.
are these 2 things where if that happens in the obituary or in conversation,
Yeah. Yeah.
people don't actually say what happened,
Yeah.
and so everybody's like, "I wonder if they OD'd or if they died by suicide."
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like
And whispers about
yes,
it. Yeah.
and it's like all of that is about mental health
Yep.
and most likely an extreme lack of ability to get the appropriate care
Mhm.
because of the way of the world
Yep.
when it's related to mental health and behavioral health and how it's treated.
It's true. It's true. It's so true. And we've had some episodes where we've talked about it. We've had the Stars and Shadows episode where we talked really in depth about it, and it's come up in other episodes. And I just feel like part of what we are looking to do at the Easy Speak is to just continuously bring up these tough conversations, to normalize them, and also to empower people to normalize them in their lives. And so for today's short, we're going to give you some good tidbits, tips, and conversation starters types of material to be able to have these conversations in our own personal lives, because suicide does not discriminate between socioeconomic status, does not discriminate between race. It is ubiquitous across the human life experience.
Mhm.
And so,
It doesn't matter who you love, how you love them,
yeah,
what race they are, what
yeah,
race you are, or how much money y'all make.
exactly. Exactly. There are always going to be times in people's lives, not everyone's lives, but there's always going to be times when people don't feel like there's any hope for the future. And um, so today we want to talk a little bit about that. And if you find any of this information helpful that we're talking about today, I really would encourage you to think about taking our youth mental health first aid course, or our adult mental health first aid course that we are now able to provide. Because a lot of what we're talking about today is embedded in that course, but in a much more robust fashion. And then if you take the course, you also get certified and have a certification that will help you to help others in the world around you. So,
I
yeah.
always say if you think that you need to know first aid, then you should know mental health first aid.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And no matter where you're listening to us from, you can access this because we do it virtual, baby.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We do it virtual and also in person. So, depending on where you are, we might fly to you, or you can
Yeah,
fly to us. So,
exactly.
or
We'll
drive.
we'll road trip
A road trip.
if
Not
it's
for
under
me.
2 hours.
Yeah, not for me. Not for me. I don't like road trips.
I'm like, road trip to the next city.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
All right. So I've got a little spinny wheel to help us just to randomize the little facts that we're giving. And I figured we could just go back and forth. Do you want to start us off with whatever we land on?
Sure.
And then we'll take it from there. So let me see here.
Little fast facts.
Little fast facts.
I love this. I love when we bring out the spin wheel for anything. It's
I
such a
know.
vibe.
Me too. Here we are.
Here we go. Because I was about to be like this. Glasses on.
All right. I'm going to click it.
Click it. Click it or
Click,
click it a ticket, as they say in Massachusetts.
click it a ticket. I haven't seen that in so long.
Click it a ticket.
Here we go.
Wear your seatbelt. Arrive alive. Encourage help.
It's the confetti and the claps for me.
I know, especially in this topic. Yeah, so we're
That's
encouraging help.
Yes,
Woo!
this is what we want to do. Okay, so tell us more about this within the context of suicide awareness.
Okay, so whenever we are dealing with a person who may be thinking about suicide, or you're even if you're worried about where they are, what they're thinking, you always want to encourage them to seek out help,
Yeah.
professional help in some way.
Mhm.
There's lots of different types of professional help, right? That ranges across from individual therapy, group therapy. It could be psychiatry if potentially they need some medication or want to talk through what medications could be. Um, there's lots of different domains of what professional help can look like.
Mhm.
It could also start out as simple as not even going directly into the realm of mental health. It could start out with having a conversation with their primary care provider,
Right.
or going in having a different type of assessment or a testing that's done, but different types of ways that you can talk to somebody who has some sort of an expertise and can help that person to sift out whatever is happening and figure out, are we on a pathway here that needs a more immediate intervention because there is a potential risk of suicide.
Yes. Exactly. And I think the other key piece is there is 988, which is a mental health crisis hotline, helpline,
Mhm.
which is a great resource and a great way for people. It's kind of like a low stakes way for people to start exploring getting help. So, you don't have to like wait months to get an appointment. You don't have to go to somebody's office. You could text or call and get the help that you need in the moment. Especially if you or somebody you love is contemplating death by suicide. So, yeah,
Mhm. And
encouraging
so
professional
so
help.
one of the things to note for anyone who has not heard of 988, and by the way, there are a lot of people who have not heard of 988, and this
Yeah,
has launched a just
2 ye
over a year ago, I
oh,
think.
yeah,
Is it 2 years? I think it's
it's been a minute, I
yes.
think.
So 988 is essentially the mental health version of 911. So
Mhm,
when you call 911, you know what happens, right? It's
mhm,
the emergency, the police, the ambulance, the fire, they're all coming, right?
yeah,
988 people that are gonna answer the phone are crisis mental health excuse me, crisis mental health professionals trained for mental health emergencies.
yes,
And so instead of getting a dispatcher that is going to send out a police, fire, ambulance situation, you're going to talk to somebody who may determine, you know what, actually, police, fire, ambulance need to come out here because this is a very dangerous situation.
mm,
Or they may say, we can actually dispatch a mental health crisis team
mhm,
to come out to you. Or neither one of those things need to happen. Here's what you can do right now. And here's how we can help you tomorrow morning, right? Or we can keep in contact with you over the next several hours.
yeah,
So, depending on if you're calling for yourself or if you're calling for a family member or a youth, it could be very difficult to have lots of lights and sirens for
yeah,
somebody who's in the middle of a potential mental health crisis. And if that's not the path that you want to go initially, this is another way. And you know that immediately you're getting on the line with somebody who's trained in mental health, where that's not always the case. And oftentimes isn't the case with 911 because that's typically medical emergencies.
yep,
And then once they assess the situation, then they make the call to a mental health professional of some capacity if they have access to them. Otherwise, it becomes to the emergency room, and then you get in touch with a mental health professional through that route. So
mhm.
those are the differences between 911 and 988, and maybe we should do an episode on just that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That was a good, synopsis, though. I think, yeah, people don't like you said, they don't know what it is or how to use it, so I'm sure that's helpful to somebody listening. Alright, here we go.
Mhm. Spin that wheel.
Starting a convo.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Yes,
Start the
starting a convo.
convo.
This is probably one of the most important things that we have on this wheel, because without this step, it's gonna be really challenging to help somebody. So, you know, starting a conversation with somebody who is struggling can be challenging, especially if you feel like they are withdrawn and or shutting you out or have been shutting you out, which oftentimes happens with people who are experiencing severe mental health challenges. Maybe they've been depressed for a really long time. One of the hallmark signs or of somebody who is experiencing something like a deep depression, or exacerbated anxiety, or trauma, is withdrawing from people, places, things that used to once bring them joy. And so if you are a loved one, you might feel the distance between yourself and that person, and it can be that much more difficult to have a conversation and check in on them. So, one of the things, especially if we're suspecting, thinking that somebody might be thinking about suicide, one of the things that we teach in our youth mental health and mental health first aid courses is that using I statements is a very powerful way to show that you care and to show that you're there to be supportive. And so what do I mean by I statements? I mean, you know, when you approach somebody and you're trying to help them, telling them the things that you've noticed and how you're feeling and what you may be worried about. So that's one aspect of how to start the conversation, right? So you love somebody or you care about somebody, you suspect that they might be thinking about suicide. Statements such as, you know, I've noticed that you've been really sad lately and I care about you and I just want to make sure you know that I'm here for you and I just want to, make sure that you are feeling supported and safe, different things like that can be really helpful. When it comes to actually asking somebody if they are thinking about suicide, one of the things that we also teach, and if you sign up for our course, we will give you a more in-depth kind of playbook for how to ask the question. But we teach folks to ask the question directly. Are you thinking about suicide? Are you thinking about dying by suicide? Because that question, in a very direct manner, is life saving. Um, one of the things that it can be challenging to ask anybody that question, a stranger or somebody that you love. So one of the things that we like to say to people is, practice asking that question ahead of time, ahead of a time where you might have to ask it, can make it a lot easier for it to kind of come out of your mouth. But don't worry that by asking the question, you're going to implant the idea into somebody's head or, have them thinking about something that they weren't originally thinking about. It is 100% a helpful thing to ask that question. So,
Yeah. You're not going to implant the thought or seed in their head by asking the question.
yeah,
If anything, you're going to save their life.
exactly. All right.
All
Let's
right, maybe one more spin.
one more spin.
Here we
Let's
go. Round and round. I don't know what song I was just about to sing.
I don't know either.
I have no clue.
Ooh, there's a good one
Foster
to end
Hope.
on. Yeah.
Woo! Woohoo! So we always talk about that as people who work in this community or as humans in the world that are interfacing with somebody else who is challenged at this moment with their mental health, or if you take our course and actually become certified mental health first aider, we are the holders of hope for other people. And so it's really important that when we see or know about somebody else struggling, that we find ways to hold hope and hold space for people to have hope in their life and know that there is more happening than just this moment. And so ways that you can do that is have conversations with them that talk about things that they love or ask them questions about things that you know that they're interested in or they really like. Ask them questions about the future. What is what is it that you're planning in 5 years, or what are the, colleges that you're thinking about going to? What
Mhm.
plans do you have for over the summer, right? Like future thinking, positive ways that you can infuse hope into their minds to get
Mhm.
out of what is happening in the moment that is bringing them despair and a feeling of hopelessness. So when we find ways to infuse hope, it really helps people to feel more grounded in the future and in positivity and not really feel like they're completely overwhelmed with that there are no answers, that there isn't anywhere else to go, that it can be really hard. I think everybody has experienced a time in their life where it feels like, I can't get out of this situation. I can't
Mhm.
get out of this pile of bills. I
Mhm.
can't get out of this class
Mhm.
that I need to be able to graduate, right? Like,
Mhm.
or this relationship that is going nowhere, right? Like everybody has had some sort of a circumstance in
Mhm.
their life that feels like it's all consuming. And so when you help to have conversations that remind people about the hopes and dreams that they have in their life, it really helps to pull them out of a place where they are feeling consumed by whatever it is that is having them be on a track of potentially thinking about suicide.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just to add to that, another huge beacon of hope for me whenever I'm talking with somebody about suicide is the fact that people who are feeling suicidal are usually only feeling that for a brief period in their lives. It's a very transient feeling. It doesn't last forever, right? And so, giving people hope that they will not, in fact, always feel this way can be a huge relief, because in that moment it feels like it will never get better, right? So just giving that fact, that little tidbit fact, like actually, most everyone who feels this at some point in their lives doesn't feel this ever again, or it's not something that lasts a long time. And so, I always like to say to people, let's not make permanent decisions on temporary feelings, right? Um and even though it's hard, you'll get through this and it'll be a better day and everyone will be happy that you are still around, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 20 years later. So it can be, when folks are feeling that way, it's just such a profound sense of hopelessness. And so like you said, it's really important that somebody can hold that beacon of light for them and lead them out of the tunnel that they're feeling stuck in.
Yep, yep.
Yep, yep. So I hope this was helpful to someone. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, please send them to us or send us a DM. And we would love to see you in one of our classes. I know classes/courses doesn't sound like a fun thing, but we make it fun. It's poppin', and we have a great time.
Let's be honest. You listen to this podcast, so you know it's gonna be fun.
True that. True, true. True that. True that. N No need to convince you. You know what's up.
You know how we do it.
Know how we do here. We hold hope for everybody all the time.
Mhm.
So,
For sure.
anyway, thanks for tuning in to this episode of An Easy Short. Not the easiest topic, but we hope that it was easy and digestible for you.
Mhm.
And don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review.
And definitely check our show notes for this short because we will drop lots of resources for all things support around suicide.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye.